November. To Democratic strategist Rochelle Ritchie, America Rising Executive Director Alex Smith, and Trump for President Advisory Board member and a guy who was actually once for Bernie. I don't know how that happened. Never. As long as I'm alive. Harlan Hill, good to see you all. Thanks for coming. Alex, 4% growth, extraordinary in the last quarter. There's a strong potential of 3% growth, which we haven't seen in eight or 9 years. Rising wages, investments, more jobs than we've ever seen. It's hard to beat this on the campaign trail.
Yeah, and I'll note that Republicans in 2016, our various Republican candidates that were running, talked about 4% growth as a reality for the United States, while Democrats like Hillary Clinton sort of scoffed at that notion. So now that we're seeing it play out into reality, I think it's going to put the squeeze on Democrats this upcoming election, because once the economy is doing well, people feel like they have jobs, wages are rising, they're likely to turn their attention to other issues. And a big issue that's coming up, and a big issue that motivates people to go to the polls, is the Supreme Court. And we have, of course, Judge Kavanaugh, who's up for confirmation, and we have 10 Democratic senators running in states that the president won in 2016, who are under a lot of pressure.
But Rochelle, still, there's nothing like the economy. It was a Democrat who came out, Jim Carville, who came out with that expression, it's the economy, stupid, when other people were saying, you know, well, there's this and there's that. It's the economy. Is that still right, what Jim Carville said many years ago?
Look, I think that Republicans need to hold off right now on popping bottles of champagne and celebrating the economy, because, quite frankly, we still have a lot of uncertainties. We really don't know what's going to happen with the trade war, right? We don't know how the tariffs are going to impact job growth. We don't know how it's going to impact productivity.
But Americans have never been more confident. Consumer confidence is at the highest level ever.
They are confident. But getting to your question about Democrats, I think that what Democrats lack in this is an overall message. I don't think that they have a message that is really going to attract independents and moderates. And I'm sorry to say that. They probably don't want to hear me say that, because I was the press secretary for the House Democratic Policy and Communications Committee, and we were tasked with drafting an economic message. You may remember it. It seems to have fallen flat, but it was a better deal, better jobs, better wages, better future. And now that you have this economy doing well, that message is not going to serve as strong anymore with independents and moderates.
So you think Democrats really got to get their act together? Is there enough time before the election? It's coming up pretty soon.
It's coming up soon, and they need to have a strong message that's going to attract independents and moderates.
But Harlan, when Americans feel so good about the economy, no matter what message Democrats come out with, I can't imagine it beating the Americans' own perception of how things are going right now.
Absolutely. And I mean, let's not downplay what the president has done. It's been nothing short of amazing to watch the economic miracle that has come to fruition in 2017.
Well, as Alex said, a lot of Democrats and their economic advisors said it couldn't be done.
They said it couldn't be done. They mocked it. They mocked the very thought of it. But I agree with Alex on another issue. We're going to see a refocusing of the issues. And I don't think it's just going to be the Supreme Court. If you look at health care, this is a problem that Republicans promised to address in 2016. And we have not addressed the problem. And costs continue to spiral out of control. We have to do something about it. Republicans promised in 2016 to solve the problem of immigration. And the president is begging Congress to send him a bill that fully funds the wall and border security. They haven't done it.
Well, remember, by the way, going back to Congress, it was Congress that, of course, dropped the ball on health care. I mean, they had an opportunity to do it, and they didn't. Is it conceivable that the president has time before the election to do something about health care? Now, he's clearly trying different things to try to get rates down, making available very simple plans that are just sort of catastrophic plans that don't cost that much. Is that going to be enough for voters?
Well, I think he is doing his best to try to provide some free market alternatives to what is out there right now. And certainly, I think he hopes that Congress will provide him with some legislative relief in this arena too. I think an important driver of this economic growth, speaking of legislation that was in Congress's court and that a lot of Democrats opposed, was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This is a big driver of the economy.
Oh, absolutely.
And the numbers that we're seeing
there may, by the way, be another tax cut put on the docket before the election. Won't be passed before the election. But, Rochelle, you said that Democrats are lacking an economic message. I think you would agree with me that one economic message is going to be the cost of health care for Democrats, right?
Well, certainly. And I don't think that they want to jump on board this whole Medicare for all. I don't think that going the Democratic Socialist
You don't think that's
route,
a good route?
No, it is not. I am not a fan of it. I don't agree with the socialists.
But what's going to happen, though? Because there's a big battle in the Democratic Party for that?
It's really divided right now, but I think that they have to get away from that sort of message right now because it's not attractive for moderates or independents.
You're absolutely
I agree.
right. But if we don't solve this problem now, we're on a collision course with socialism because eventually the American people are going to throw their hands up and say, we need relief from the high cost of health care. And so that is my concern. If we don't solve this with free market principles today, it creates a much bigger problem down the road.
And don't forget that as a political matter in the short term, the 2020 contenders on the Democratic side who are all pretty much all in favor of Medicare for all are really putting a squeeze on these 2018 Democrats that are up in these Trump
By the way,
states.
I'm amazed. Here we have a former Bernie supporter, a Democrat who was very active in the campaign, a Republican, all agreeing on a couple of points. A very interesting moment.
miracle.
All right, well, Secretary Pompeo issuing a war